Imagine this, December 1970. Manhattan at the height of the Christmas shopping rush. Thousands of yellow cabs that usually swarm the streets like angry bees suddenly vanish. No horns on Fifth Avenue. No "Hey, taxi" on Times Square. The city that never sleeps grinds to a halt, not because of a blizzard or a blackout, but because of a taxi strike. Over 36,000 drivers drop their keys and say, "Enough is enough." But here's the paradox. New York didn't collapse. It adapted. People flooded the subways, hopped on buses, or flagged down illegal gypsy cabs. And this strike, meant to cripple the city, accidentally planted the seeds for today's gig economy giants like Uber and Lyft. How did a fight for a few extra bucks a week unintentionally pave the way for billion-dollar apps that turned driving into a precarious hustle? Stay with me. New York in the 1970s was a city on the edge. Financial crisis biting deep into the budget. Crime skyrocketing. Taxi drivers were robbed thousands of times a year. Inflation eating away at wages. Gas prices starting to climb ahead of the full oil shock in '73. Yellow cabs, the medallion ones, were mostly owned by big fleets like Yellow Cab or Checker. Drivers weren't owners. They worked on commission. About 49 to 50% of the meter went to them, the rest to the garage. But fleet owners kept jacking up the booking fee, the fixed daily charge for renting the cab. Drivers were barely scraping by. Average take-home, around $150 to $170 a week with tips. But after gas, bribes to dispatchers, and everything else, hardly enough to feed a family. The union was Local 3036, led by Harry Van Arsdale Jr., a powerful figure in New York's labor scene, head of the Central Labor Council. But many drivers felt he was too top-down, too cozy with the bosses. Rank-and-file grumbling was building. And in late 1970, with contracts expiring, tensions boiled over. The strike kicked off in early December 1970, right as holiday shoppers flooded the city. Fleet drivers walked out, demanding better commissions and a share of any fare hike. Independent owner drivers mostly stayed on the job at first, but solidarity and pressure pulled many in. Soon, nearly all 11,000 plus medallion cabs were off the streets for 15 days. Fleet owners, represented by the Metropolitan Taxicab Board of Trade, dug in. They called the strike pointless, claiming drivers were already well paid. But drivers told a different story. One, quoted in the New York Times, said, "We're working 12-hour shifts just to break even. The bosses raise the booking fee every year, but our cut stays the same." Media played a huge role. WABC Radio, the top station back then, covered it wall to wall. Reports of empty taxi stands at airports, frustrated tourists, and streets oddly quiet without the constant honking. But satire crept in too. Newspapers joked about cleaner air and less traffic. New Yorkers, tough as ever, adapted fast. Subway ridership spiked. Buses were packed. And then came the gypsy cabs, unlicensed drivers, often from outer boroughs, flooding Midtown to pick up fares the yellow cabs ignored. Escalation hit when violence flared briefly. Some strikers slashed tires on scab cabs or pelted them with bottles. Police stepped in, but the city mostly just functioned. As one NYT editorial quipped, "The strike proved New York could survive without taxis, a humiliating blow to the industry's leverage." Behind the scenes, state mediators like Vincent McDonald pushed for talks. Harry Van Arsdale negotiated hard, but dissidents formed the Taxi Rank and File Coalition in early '71, accusing him of selling out. They wanted 60% commissions for everyone, no two-tier system favoring veterans. The breaking point came mid-December. With Christmas approaching and no end in sight, Mayor Lindsay stepped in harder. He proposed a fare hike, from about $1.35 average ride to $1.90, plus extras. Owners and union hashed out a deal. Drivers got guarantees of $175 to $200 weekly take-home. The strike ended just before the holidays. But the real drama? That wild union meeting in April '71, when rank-and-file rebels stormed the stage, chairs flew, and Van Arsdale's team got shouted down. It exposed deep divisions and kickstarted a movement that would reshape the industry. The strike won short-term gains. Fare increases in 71. Creation of the Taxi and Limousine Commission to regulate better. But the paradox? It accelerated the downfall of the fleet system. Economic pressures in the 70s, oil crises, recession, pushed owners to sell medallions to individuals. Drivers shifted to leasing cabs daily, no benefits, no security. That horse hiring model, pay a flat fee up front, keep whatever you earn after, mirrored today's gig work. No boss, but no protections either. Uber and Lyft exploded in the 2010s by scaling that idea. Anyone with a car could drive, apps handle dispatch, but platforms take a big cut and control rates. The 1970 strike highlighted how fragile the old system was, and how drivers' fight for fairness ironically opened the door to a less regulated, more precarious world. Today, with Uber and Lyft dominating, many drivers echo those 1970 complaints. Low pay after expenses, no guarantees. New York's rules, like minimum pay standards, stem partly from lessons of that era. But the gig economy? It's the unintended child of a strike that tried to save jobs and change them forever. Thanks for listening all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this deep dive into a forgotten piece of American history, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Your support means the world. It helps us keep uncovering these hidden chapters that still shape our lives today. See you in the next one.